Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Cardenas, and this is the Indy Real Estate Market Weekly Update. Today, I'm sitting here with Kyle Morris, FC Tucker, Justin Griffith with Keller Williams, Shelley Walters with EXP. And it looks like we're into a great change of the market for buyers because we have a lot of inventory that's coming on, and the days on market don't seem that long. So, Kyle, what are you seeing here in your area that you're selling, Indy North and Hamilton County?
I think we're going back to a normal market, right? I mean, everybody's been worried about it. This is what everybody wanted. I don't know. There's more inventory. There's less buyers out there, right? I don't even want to say there's less buyers. It's just not coming off the market as quick.
Not a lot of competition.
There's just not a lot of competition. If you're a buyer, rates are a little bit lower than they have been. I mean, to me, everybody's kind of freaking out, and this is what we wanted. It's just been 2 years, so people, they're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with the market? Like, no, this is what everybody wanted, right? And so here we are, like we're doing concessions on inspections again, all types of things that are just normal. You know, we don't have we'll call it stable inventory as far as the sense of 6 months worth of inventory. But other than that, like, this is a normal market as far as being a buyer and a seller.
Right, and it's still a seller's market. There, you know, a lot of sellers are getting concerned, and like we were talking, I've seen some listings where they're saying that they're going to pay a point for the buyer to, pay down their rate, because I think a lot of sellers are being told or feeling that they have to, do something to make a buyer buy their house. But we're looking at 10 to 20 days on market on these properties, and that's nothing. This is normal.
That's pretty short.
It is. And
I
that's
remember being on the market for 120 days, and the phone ringing like, "What's going on?" Like, it's normal. 120 days is normal.
It's fine. And that's just a hard kickback. Like, it was a really aggressive seller's market, and now it's becoming more in the middle. Sellers don't need to be doing that. Like, just price it right in the beginning. We see people dropping prices before they even hit average days on market to pinned, right? It's just really, really interesting. We went from educating buyers, now we need to educate sellers, just kind of what's going on, pricing it right, all these things. But this is where we want to be at.
Yeah.
It just
and I'm
is.
still looking at my pending properties, like average, they're under 14 days. So it's the homes that are right.
What part is that?
Meridian Hills, Broad Ripple, Fountain Square, and Bates Hendricks.
Yeah, I mean, the market's good down there. It's not only up here in Hamilton County where we're doing this podcast right now, but Indy market stuff is turning quick.
So to your point, I wouldn't even touch dropping a price until I'm 2 weeks, 3 weeks in. And maybe a little bit before that if it's like crickets on showings. Right? Like, you got
if
0,
slow,
2 weeks
you're
in.
like, maybe we missed the mark. But
I think you also need to look to see how you did that listing, because I do see people who are listing agents who are making their price that they're listing at as the average sold price of that neighborhood. And you cannot do the average sold price. I just keep saying this. It has to be closer to the average list price, because the sold price, again, we never know if it appraised, and it's also possibly too high because people will not even look at the house because they're afraid it'll escalate higher than that, which means that immediately as it sits there and hit the market day one is already overpriced, because somebody's possibly going to want to overprice or overpay that listing price. So I don't know if I made that sense there, but I just think if you have put your house on the market as the average sold price of that neighborhood, you could possibly be a little too high for the listing.
Right, you got to look at list price as well. Yeah, like I kind of do happy in between, because the sold price is going to factor into the appraisal, but that's not what it was actually priced at, comped at to list in the first place. And I can't guarantee, especially in this market, that you're even getting 15K over list, right? 10K over list.
Right. You might still get over list, but we're not looking at the $60,000 and $70,000 that we were looking at before, and we're not looking at 15 offers either. 2
maybe
and 3,
if you're that
maybe.
one off, right? Like you're that perfect HGTV, but that's not everybody, and everybody thinks they're them.
Or the neighborhoods, like we were just looking at Highland Springs, and it's like there was 30 something showings on a property in 2 days. So it's multiple offers. So it really just depends if you're in the right area, if your home's ready. If you have it priced right off the bat, it's still moving. If you do not have those things, then you're going to be sitting.
Yeah. And isn't that normal? I mean, you could have said that 4 years ago.
I think you're right on it, Justin. That's a normal market, and it's nice to be back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always interesting. We see people, they watch all these shows, and I mean, I've watched the shows. It is what it is. But we're in Indianapolis, we're in the Midwest, the things that sell a house here, it's price, location, condition.
Yeah.
That's what it is to a certain extent.
Well, and there's also going to be the price point that's a little bit more competitive than other price points.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a generalization of the entire market, but you look at a house between 2 and 3, anywhere,
goodness.
it's going to sell quickly, probably over for list and multiple offers. You're looking at a $500,000 to $600,000 house. It's still possibly going to sell in 20 days, but it just may not be, flying off at higher prices and lots of competition.
And to what we were talking about originally, like as far as like sellers are concerned and they're offering points and all this stuff, we've had back-to-back 20% appreciation years. Like, you're doing just fine on your house. You don't need to be doing that. Just price it correctly.
Exactly.
You're still coming out so ahead.
People are worried about, did I miss the mark? Did I list in time? Should I still think about even listing? And, is prices going to drop? Prices are not going to drop. There has to be a major, in my opinion, a major issue that happens in our economy for the prices to drop.
Even then, it would take 6 to 9 months for it to trickle through the actual appraisals, the lower offers. Like, even that, it's not an overnight thing. It would take probably a year to fully impact.
Exactly.
And
prices.
just like what you said, though, 20% over the past 2 years, 2 times in a row, that's a lot to drop from. That would be really hard.
Yeah.
Justin, let's talk about what's going on in the Indy market. Let's go through your stats for. Let's kick it off with Broad Ripple.
Okay.
Sobro, Broad Ripple area.
So I just lumped these all together. I don't have like the recent ones in the 7 days, but we have 29 current active listings. The average days are 40, and that's priced anywhere from 314 on the average up to 1.95 million. So I guess there's a big boy out there in Broad Ripple somewhere. 23 pending. Average days on the market is 14 on those, and the average price is 330. And then there was 3 closings this week. Average price at 350. You want me to go ahead and Fountain Square?
Yeah.
Fountain Square, we have 45 total listings with the average list price at 335. Those days on the market have been 62. Pending, there are 22 homes on the market with average days on the market at 50.
That's a lot.
That's
I feel
going
like.
higher.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good increase compared to what we did have. I mean,
But they're sitting and selling, so it's it's
still
just
selling.
taking a little bit of time.
exactly.
Bates Hendricks, right now there's 12 active listings, average price of 337 and a high of 519.
What's the low in Bates Hendricks? Do you have that today?
The low is actually the closing that happened this week. Both of them averaged 131,000.
So somebody can go down there and really get a decent deal on a home and have the opportunity for growth.
That's
going to be
Depending
like
on the
that's
rehab
a
you
shithole.
did.
I'm not saying you don't have to do any work or anything to it, but my point is somebody can get out there and buy a home.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, that one would
Kyle over here
definitely
laughing
need
at
some
me.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things used to be 40, 50.
Yes.
Of course they
20.
did, but
Yeah,
20.
20.
Used to
yeah,
be able to
but
buy
the
a lot for
$300,000 home up here or the $400,000 home up here, what used to be what?
Oh.
180 to 220.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so it's all relative,
relative,
to
for sure,
what the
for
market's
sure.
doing.
Yeah.
What else you got? Justin?
Meridian Hills, we got 39 active listings with only 34 days on the market. So that's not bad at all for active listings. Pending, there's 34, priced from 454 on average up to 1.8, and those are only 9 days. So price it right, have it marketed right, it sells quickly. And they had 4 closings this past week, priced at 463.
Okay.
And I
So-
think we haven't really spoken about what week we are in. School is starting here this week and next week, and this is always a slow time because back to school, people are shopping or taking their last minute family vacation, but they're getting ready for school. So this is a quiet time anyway.
Yep.
Well, you know, back in the old days, you would always say, well, if you don't sell your house now, it's not going to sell. But you know what?
That's just not
School
accurate.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, because the market the last 5 years, 6 years have been pretty good after everybody went back to school.
Is it so? I mean, I would say there's slow weeks. I mean, we've talked about this before: 4th of July week, all this other stuff. I mean, it's just going to be a slow week. Easter week, Mother's Day week. You know, like those are just historically low weeks. But for me, my team, our fourth quarter, past 4 years has been the best quarter of the entire year for some reason, which is just entirely counterintuitive to what you would think with this market.
Right. Yeah, and it's something that I think where we live, so many people come here for the price and affordability of homes and everything that if they're being transferred, it's at any time during the year.
Yep.
So I don't think we have this standard market in our area where people just move because they need to move between May and July and it's all over. We have people who have to move 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, especially with the influx of like tech and new jobs and employment and industrial going on here.
Shelley, let's move over to Hamilton County. Let's kick it off with Carmel. What kind of numbers we have this week for Carmel?
Well, the past 7 days have been a little bit of a slowdown. We had only 44 hit the market. 16 of those pended, so not very many of those.
Seems pretty good.
It's still good, but we had been looking around 70 and so slower this week.
So 44 hit the market. How many are pending?
Out of those, 16 pended immediately. We currently have 140 active, anywhere between 200 and 7.9. The houses that went back on the market, there was 1, 2 expired. I was talking about that last week.
Yes,
so
you were.
We're seeing some expireds. Days on market is averaging for those 7 past days that pended was 12. And we had 18 price drops in all the actives on Carmel. So Westfield, only 34 hit the market. And I just said only. I mean, back in the day, we would be saying that, that's a ton, but there was a lot more in the past few weeks that we've been reporting on these. Pended 14, so 20 stayed on the market. There's currently 155 active in Westfield, between 200 and 2.275. 5 of them were back on the market, and then 5 expired. The average days on market for those last 7 days were 14, and 38 price drops out of the 155 in Westfield. Zionsville had 18 hit the market. 7 of those sold in the past 7 days. They currently have a total of 44, and their average day on market right now is 18. 9 price drops, and their current active prices are 319 to 3.7.
Wow.
And that's still a really low day on the market. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, it
I
is.
know
Oh
people
my
are saying
gosh.
things aren't sounding like 18 days. That's insane.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
not bad.
You're exactly right, Justin. That
Like
is
4 years ago,
quick.
you were a rock star doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right. And
30 days, you were
when
like,
we
hey.
get back to talking about these sellers that are like all of a sudden like at 6 days going, I need to lower the price, or let's give a point away to the buyer. I mean, we're fine.
Yep.
It just
If
get
you
somebody.
like have to move quick and it's time sensitive, like I can understand that, but that should definitely not be the norm if you're helping a seller.
Exactly. And before we come over to you, I was just looking at something. A $400,000 home with 20% down, a mortgage of $320,000 back in December was 2.75% interest rate. Your mortgage payment, just your principal and interest, would have been $1,306.37. And if we go to today's market, where some banks are, I'm just going to put it 6% in. Okay, there's better than that out there, but I got to kind of hit where the market is, 6%. Your payment would be $1,918. And if you go with a broker, I just wanted to show you 1918 versus 1816. You may want to shop around for a mortgage compared to a national bank, because national banks are higher. Okay, but the thing is, it's still good at 5.5%, 20% down. Okay, you're buying a home around $400,000. I mean, some rent payments are $1,500 to $1,800 a month. So
more
Rents
like
have gone
most.
up. Everything has gone up.
yeah, and you could actually get that down a little bit lower if you go FHA and not 20% down. There's some things to do there a little bit, even though you're not putting down the 20%. But the bottom line is some of the government rates are a lot less, but at the same time, you're paying a little bit more in fees and everything. But, FYI, the market is good. The market's not bad when it comes to money. I mean, this is a great market.
Well, they also talk about the fact that it's going up. They
It
keep
is gonna go
saying
up.
it's going to go up. So now, should
Jump
I
on
wait?
now.
No, you shouldn't wait, because they are
Right.
already saying it's supposed to go up. Rent prices continue to go up. So if you're renting and thinking I'll just wait, your rent's going to keep going up. The prices of the houses are just going to go up. So there shouldn't be any type
If
of
you're
waiting
buying a
if
house,
you're ready.
you're right. If you're buying a house and you want a discount, buy it the house at today's price and get today's rate, because it's only going to go higher. Not necessarily on the house price, but the rates are going to go up. Even though we got a dip down right now, they are going to go up. So
I think if we talked about FHA this year, if you're FHA and you're 300 to up to the cap, you're in a pretty good spot, because actually your rate is even lower than that, right? And you've got stuff on the market. If you're under 300, it's just you're dealing with institutional competition. There's just a lot more going on there. But if you're north of 300 as an FHA, I would say you're actually a pretty good situation right now.
Have you guys noticed too that like the institutional investors right now have slowed down,
Oh,
which
God.
is actually giving home buyers an opportunity. So you're not competing against these
Let me tell you
corporations
something.
that are all cash. and giving
FHA
up
rates.
everything.
FHA rates right now, and I'm talking about not a 780 credit score. I'm talking about an elite I'm talking, probably, let me go back up on this. Let me call it a 720 credit score. Man, you can go out there and get 4.375 all day long.
Yeah.
So what if you have to pay MIP? You're going to get 4.375 all day long. And if you're not going to get that, you're going to get down to the next level of it, and you're going to go up a quarter to a half a point. Who cares? The rate's still good. Everybody's going to say, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda when they were 2.75. Forget it. It's gone. It's not going to be back for a long, long time. But at the end of the day, just like you said, Kyle, on FHA, you can get yourself a heck of a deal. Quite honestly, if you're a first-time buyer and you do have 20% down, look at the rate; it's better.
Same with VA. VA has an even higher cap on it.
Oh, well, that's right. But VA right now, if you were doing a VA refinance on a great credit score and a good loan to value, you're talking easily all day long, 4.375 to 4.25%. Well, not 4.25%, 4.5% on VA. That is,
and
that's
like
on a 30-year.
Justin
That's on 30-year fixed.
Justin just said that those institutional buyers are pretty much gone, who was competing directly with these FHA and VA buyers. So you now have
but look, you got I'm looking at one of the boards right now. You got a 30-year VA jumbo. You could get it 4.875. Now, let me tell you, a lot of institutions sell it a lot higher than that, but you could get 4.875 on a jumbo. That is incredible pricing. And I do think it's going to go away here in the next few weeks because of what the feds are doing. So just back to what you said earlier, Shelley, you want a great deal on a home, buy at today's prices and get today's mortgage rates.
Yep. It's just encouraging all the way around. I think there's a lot of despair and concern out there, and I just feel blessed that we're in it as much as we are. Like, I actually find it a super encouraging time right now. All of the people I deal with, they feel like we're in a pretty good boat. It's just, how do you get that information out
And we
to
are
people?
talking about Hamilton County, Marion County, Indianapolis.
I'm talking about
Indiana,
Indiana, right.
And if you're sitting and listening to your 6:30 news, the national news, it's not sounding very good. So just listen to your local realtor. Ask them for information that'll help you when you want to list or buy. Talk to the people who are dealing with your current market, because the national news sounds horrible, and we're not dealing with what everybody else is in the United States.
Yeah, because they're compiling everything together. They're putting it in one great big bubble. They're rolling it out, and
it's
really
like the Zestimate, that darn Zillow Zestimate everybody wants us to go by. It's like that's a national number rolled in to try to figure out what your neighborhood value is, and that doesn't work.
Okay, I want to jump back to Hamilton County with Kyle here. Let's talk about, let's kick it off with Fishers. What do you got there, Kyle?
So Fishers had 55 go in the market in the past week, anywhere from 179,000 to 2.3 million, more like 2.39. So we'll roll it up to 2.4. Just
because you like to average it out.
Yeah.
Do you do that on a card game too?
So I find anybody under 6 foot and anybody under the age of 18 kind of rounds up, So I'm 5'10" and a half, and if you're under 18, you're usually like 14 and a half.
Yeah, but we can't do that with lottery tickets. But go ahead. Okay, wait a minute. So Fishers had how many homes?
55 on the market.
And how many are pending?
So 22 of those that went active. 22 of those pended, so 33 of them are still active. There's actually 150 total on the market.
Okay, thank you.
And to what we were talking about, average days on market is 11. So it's actually pretty. I wouldn't even touch a price on that thing until you're 2 weeks in. I just wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Noblesville is pretty similar, so they had 37 go on the market, so a little bit lower. But like we were talking about, it was just one of those weeks. Anywhere from 174 all the way up to 1.4 million. 24 of them are still active, 13 of them pended, which is a very low number to pend, which just considering what's on the market, it's just because of the weeks. Like sometimes you have to be able to look and extrapolate the data and kind of make a determination on what's going on. There's 111 still active. Average days on market in Noblesville is 15. But when I was looking back just 3 weeks, we're pretty much on the same for total active. It's been like, with Fishers, I think it was like 150, 148, 153. Noblesville's been like 111, 113, 109. So we've been staying around this area. We're stabilizing.
Yeah. Carmel, Westfield, and Zionsville, the same current actives is staying steady.
Yeah. So, and I actually think, once we get through these next couple of weeks, like with schools and all these other things, it's going to start going back up again.
Yeah.
Well, you're right.
It's a good time.
We're going to get a lot of traffic. The change of date and the buyers, this summer thing's over.
I'm starting to get the phone calls again of people wanting to list, so it kind of slowed down for a little bit with the end of the summer, but people are starting to talk about it again. But that question keeps coming up: did I miss the boat? No, well, hey, you did not.
One thing too, I have a buyer right now that's waiting, and they're like, "Well, I think the homes are a little overpriced." So say you're waiting for like a $20,000 or $30,000 price drop, but the rate goes up a half a point, you're paying way more.
Yeah,
at
but that could be
rate than
temporary.
you would be for
You're right. You're right.
$30,000 price drop.
You're right. I would wait for a $30,000 price drop just a little bit so you can get that buyer or help out that seller. But the bottom line is you can go back to the thing, buy the house and date the rate, because you could do an ARM, get a lower rate right now that kind of offsets that $30,000 you're talking about. But there's some people out there that just want a fixed rate. They're kind of scared about it. So I agree with what you're saying there, but they can refinance later to eliminate
But I'm just
some
saying,
of that cost.
waiting to save up money or for the prices to come down when
agree
the
with
rates
you.
are going to go up. It's like the rate is what's going to kill the difference.
You're right. There's
It's,
two ways to look at it.
They always say, what is it? Time in the market is more important than timing the market. I
Yep.
can remember when COVID happened, right? And everything started to go up really, really bad into March, beginning of April of 2020. And, I was having a conversation with one of my managing brokers, and, the year prior, they had some buyers who were like, I don't want to, prices are high. I'm going to wait for the prices to come back down. Here we are 3 years later.
probably still renting.
Yeah, and prices have gone up by
Exactly.
50%.
And rates.
Yeah, and rates, right? So, you just can't predict it. You're better off
There's no
being
way.
in a property and paying the equity
Yep.
down than anything.
Okay. So what's your words of encouragement for somebody that's going to list this week, you guys? Let's hear it from your side of the fence.
This week, I mean, it's the same as any week to a certain extent. Setting the proper expectations, condition, photos, presentation. You just can't throw a house on the market. People got away with it, but you still
Not anymore.
didn't need to. Presentation absolutely matters. You want to create emotional appeal as soon as people pull up. Not even when they get out of the car. When they pull up, you want to be setting the tone already.
Exactly. Justin, I want to touch on the container homes a little bit. Are they starting to get some action? I mean, is the city starting to learn about it a little bit?
Oh, yeah. We have plans getting approved already. We have already started new projects. We have one that's buttoning up in the next couple weeks in Fountain Square, and it's it's my favorite one that we've done so far. So.
Yeah, we'll have to put some pictures up on that on
Yep.
one of our next shows. But if anybody's interested in a container home, more of a customized type of new way of buying real estate and living, of course, they can reach out to Justin at Keller Williams, and then we'll put your number at the end of the show. Shelley, what do you got encouragement for somebody who's getting ready to list this week?
Well, we're just going through the process like we have from day one, from when I started in 2008. Lots of information for the seller to help them understand what they're getting ready to go through, getting the house ready, like you said, from curb appeal all the way inside, pricing it correctly. So sellers, it's still a seller's market. So if you're thinking of selling, it's still a perfect time to do it.
Okay. And Kyle, what company do you work for?
FC Tucker. My team's Morris Property Group. You can get a hold of us, 317-649-5122.
Justin, who are you with? What company?
Keller Williams, Indy Metro Northeast. You can reach me at 317-507-5599 or Fishers.real estate for the website.
Okay. And Shelley, what company are you with?
With the Shelley Walters Realty Group with EXP. And you can reach me on my cell phone, 317-201-2601.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening to the show, and we'll be talking at you next week.
Have a great day and a great week.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, Holly here. Thanks for listening to the Indianapolis Real Estate Market Weekly Update. Need a professional real estate agent? Reach out to one of our realtors on the podcast. Shelley Walters with eXp Realty, Greg Cooper with Compass Real Estate, Kyle Morris with FC Tucker, and Justin Griffith with Keller Williams. This podcast is sponsored by America's Best Mortgage by PRMG, 317-214-6720, and ExecutivePortfolio.com, the #1 real estate magazine in Greater Indianapolis.